Revenge films.
When I went to my best friend's wedding, the groom was my husband who had disappeared 3 years ago. My name is Catherine. I live with my husband Chad, and I am a 24-year-old full-time office worker. It was about 1 year since I married my husband, and I was starting to think I want children, so my husband and I were having a conversation. We were still in the newlywed honeymoon phase, and things were great between us. We were both working full-time, but we had a dedicated promise to always go on dates together on the weekends. We also never argued, and our wedding life was smooth sailing, until one day. One day, when I came home from work, I felt like the apartment was oddly clean and empty. Something felt very off, so I decided to check everything around the apartment. It didn't take long for me to realize that all of my husband's belongings were gone. A terrible feeling washed over me as I tried to call my husband, but he had already deactivated his phone. I then called my in-laws and explained the situation to them, but they told me that there's no way he would just disappear like this, so to calm down and see how things go. However, there was no way that I could calm down, so I looked everywhere I could of that might be where he would be, but I couldn't find him anywhere. And in the end, he never came home that day. Or ever again, for that matter. I was so shocked by his sudden disappearance that I continued to look for him. I kept looking and looking, but I couldn't even find anyone that knew where he might be. And before I knew it, 3 years had gone by. I had exhausted myself of tears and stopped looking so intensely. It was around the time that I had finally felt like I was regaining control of my life. The person who supported me the most through my devastation was my mother. My mother was always beside me and continued to cheer me up. Seeing how deeply depressed I was, I have no doubt that she was afraid I might take my own life. For how much I made her worry, and in order to make sure she gets to know that everything was okay, I was finally able to start smiling and laughing little by little again. Right around that time, I got some very happy news. That was a wedding invitation from none other than my best friend Kelly, who was living in Hawaii. Kelly always loved the ocean ever since she was little, and she started surfing when she was in elementary school. When we graduated high school, she said she wanted to work in some related thing to surfing, and using the money she saved up from her part-time job, she moved to Hawaii herself. Now, she's a surfing instructor and has become extremely popular on social media, and is a bit of a celebrity. I was proud to be Kelly's best friend. Anytime I would see her post on social media, I would message her and remember showing my husband cool photos of Kelly and bragging about her to him. Apparently, the wedding was going to be in Hawaii, so in order to attend, I would need to get on an airplane and cross the ocean. I have always been terrified of heights and had a huge fear of flying, so I truthfully debated whether I would be able to attend or not. But it was my beloved best friend's wedding, so I mustered up all the courage and decided to take an airplane to Hawaii. Kelly's family and my family were very close, so she also invited my mother, who also attended with me. I immediately picked up the phone to tell my mom, "Hello, Mom. I just got an invitation to Kelly's wedding, and she said she wants you to come too." "What? Kelly is getting married? How wonderful!" It was so amazing. I can't wait. I'm so excited to see her again. "It's been a while since I've heard such a happy voice from you, Catherine. I can't wait either." My mom and I started running around trying to get everything ready for our departure to Hawaii. It was both of our first times going to Hawaii, so we also looked through a lot of travel magazines and studied up on the islands. The time I spent with my mom choosing dresses while filled with excitement helped to brighten my mood a lot. The day of the departure, I still hated flying, but I took deep breaths while picturing Kelly in her wedding dress and faced my fears, and somehow landed safely in Hawaii. Kelly was there at that point waiting for us. "Catherine! Kelly!" The moment we saw each other, we ran and embraced. And as we hugged each other tightly, we really felt the importance of each other's existence. We spent more than 1 hour catching up and laughing at the cafe in the airport. And I got to hear all about how Kelly met her fiancé. "About that, my soon-to-be husband suddenly appeared in front of me one day, and he came aggressively chasing after me. Isn't that crazy?" Wow, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. I know, right? And then he said that he had no interest in surfing, but that he wanted to watch me surf for the rest of his life. How weird is that? What is that? He sounds like one of your fans. Maybe he actually was. Even though we hadn't seen each other in years, in that 1 hour, we were back to our old best friend selves. And I got to talk about everything in our lives. Of course, about my husband too. When I told Kelly about my husband disappearing, she really empathized with me, as if it happened to her, and she did her best to cheer me up. I don't know what might have happened to your husband, but it doesn't change the fact that he disappeared without saying a word. I think you should try to leave it in the past and move forward, because you deserve a happy life. Yeah, you're right. I feel a lot more confident now. I think I can move on. Thank you. After our reunion at the airport, my mom and I went to check in at the hotel. From there, we had a blast, enjoying a tasting menu at the restaurant as our first day in Hawaii came to a close. The next morning was the day of the wedding. The venue was filled with so many people. As soon as my mom and I walked through the doors, Kelly's parents ran right over to us. Catherine, how are you? And your mother looks great too.
Catherine! So great to see you. You look beautiful.
It's so great to see you guys too. The four of us caught up while also reminiscing on our memories together. When they announced that the wedding ceremony was about to start, finally the bride and groom were about to make their entrance, and I was so excited to see Kelly with her soon-to-be husband. The doors opened. Please welcome the bride and groom. I wonder what Kelly's husband looks like. I'm sure he's a wonderful person for her. The bride and groom's slow footsteps echoed in the hall, and as soon as they walked through the doors, both my mother and I instantly drew our breath and were covered in goosebumps, unable to move. Standing next to Kelly in a white suit as the groom was unmistakably, without a doubt, my husband Chad, who had disappeared 3 years ago. What? Is that Chad? I went into a state of panic, and before I knew it, I had run over to Chad and grabbed him by the shoulder, shaking him. Chad looked shocked and was speechless. Why? Why are you here? Where have you been all this time?
Catherine, why? How are you here?
What? You two knew each other? What on earth is going on here? What does this mean? Explain yourself!
What is going on?
This man is my daughter's husband who left her and disappeared.
What did you say? This must be some sort of mistake!
My mom calmed me down as I regained my composure, and Kelly asked me to explain everything in detail, so I told her everything. If it was just me there, Chad may have been able to come up with some kind of excuse to get out of it. But with my mother there as a witness, he knew there is nowhere he could go. Chad conceived, and in front of Kelly and Kelly's parents, he admitted to the truth.
We are canceling this wedding! All of it! How dare you hurt my daughter and her best friend like this? I hope you're ready to enjoy your time in hell! I'm sorry!
Catherine, I'm so sorry! I had no idea! It's not your fault, Kelly. I know that you didn't know. This is all Chad's fault.
Catherine, please forgive me!
You're nothing to me now. Don't even think about showing your face in front of any of us ever again.
But no!
It turns out that as I was showing my husband Kelly's posts and photos on social media, he became obsessed with Kelly. So he packed up and disappeared and moved to Hawaii. Then he planned to carefully get closer to her, and even got to the point of a wedding. Apparently he thought I never would have come to the wedding because of my fear of flying, and he thought he was in the clear. That prediction turned out to be beautifully wrong, and instead, at his wedding, everything he had done come to light in front of everyone. Chad must have not expected this, so for a while he stood there like a lifeless body. Kelly's parents and my mother were of course livid. The wedding was canceled, and there was a huge commotion all throughout the venue. They had already submitted their marriage certificate, but that was, of course, immediately destroyed, and Chad was left with paying the full cost of the ceremony as well as the settlement fee to me. This time, we both had lawyers on him, so he couldn't get away. The cost of the wedding was quite high, and since Chad was expecting to pay for it with the ceremony gift money from the guests, he ended up going bankrupt. He had to take out a loan from the black market lender in order to pay off the settlement fee. And I heard that he is now working a hard labor job while being chased by debt collectors every day and night. I later heard a rumor from a mutual friend that the last time she saw him, he was missing a finger. As for me and Kelly, despite the both of us being deceived by the same man, we were both there for each other and are now supporting each other to find a new relationship as we look towards the future. I also want to become happy not only for myself, but for my mom who saw me depressed for all these years. I want to be able to take care of my mother the same way she took care of me all this time. After moving on from the most painful betrayal, I feel like I can handle anything that life throws at me now. More than anything, with all of these amazing people around me who supported me through all this, I want to live a positive life as I set off to find my own happiness.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.